Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of A Cuppa with Nomcebo. Today is a very exciting and a happy day for me because I'm meeting up, or rather, we'll be having a conversation with a very interesting young man. His name is Clement Dlamini. He had a rather rough childhood growing up, but you know what they say, it's not about where you start, but it's about where you end. Clement Dlamini, thank you very much for joining us on the show.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nomcebo. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you sit there. And you have a very, very interesting life. But before we just get to that part, can you just briefly introduce yourself, tell the viewers, a bit about who you are?
Oh, I'm Clement Dlamini. I grew up from Lamkapi, Punya. That's why I spent most of my childhood attending school at Ekutuleni Primary School, and also I then went to Inyanza High School. Yeah, I think that's a nutshell. That's a nutshell for me. And I also went to university where I graduated with with information technology. So I think that's just my summary of who I am.
Taking you back, I'm just going to take you back to your childhood, because I think it's rather interesting, as you were just sharing with me earlier, that you grew up in a home where there were your parents and your siblings. Yeah.
Actually, I'm the only kid on my mother's side, so I grew up with my granny on my mother's side most of the time, and my mother was a textile worker working at the farms in Matsapa, so most of the time you find that I spend it with granny and attending school, sometimes visiting my mother during weekends and also school holidays. Yeah, so most I grew up with my granny.
Would you say you had a beautiful, simple, experience growing up as a kid? Life? How was your life?
Really hectic, because you can understand that growing up with the granny, it's all about a traditional family. I usually tell people that I come from a very poor background. You understand, growing up with a granny, you are supposed to eat something like compete for. It's healthy food, actually, because right now we can see the changes in our health diets, but I can say it was a poor background, like really.
Poor background, and ukhula uliswati njengoba nje usho nje ukuthi nikhule nidla umbhitho ngiphalisa sibona nyalo sibadala ukuthi actually our parents naye gogo was doing the right thing and feeding you a proper meal actually.
Yeah, it was. Sometimes you'll come back and find that there is no food on the table, and you'll just accept it that maybe I'm going to eat in the evening. So it was just rough, especially after the death of my mother in 2010. But through God's grace, I've been able to push to be the person I am today.
Okay, Clement, endzabeni yakho moyicoca njengoba siyayifaka nje indzaba yamake nje ukuthi nga 2010 nango make soyashona. Clement lokhule kakhulu kugogo enyalo soyahamba make. How did that affect your life?
It affected my life very negatively, in a way that in 2010 when my mother died, I decided to at least relieve stress. I tried to commit suicide because my mother was the last person to die. My father died in 2008, whereas he was just a deadbeat dad. He was not there for me. I don't even know a single sign of him, but I was able to grow up with granny, and sometimes you'll find that she wasn't even affording to give me pocket money, at least to carry in school, and that's how I became a writer. That right now people know me that I'm a Times of Swaziland columnist. I write for the Times of Swaziland. It's been 6 years. So from there, coming up with the idea of getting to the library just to avoid my peers to see that I am not carrying any pocket money to school.
What's going to happen? And we are going to talk more, about that, because I'm very interested, in that final step of you actually making it to university. But you are a double orphan.
Yes.
Babako ageko in the picture, the national namage is gone out of the picture. What was the most hardest part, you know, for you ukuthi uyivumele noma uaccepte empilweni yakho mawuthi ikhanza ukuthi yathi ingathi ngingedwa?
Actually, there was no one for me. There was no one who was there for me. Relatives will say that maybe it was because I was a drug addict, that you find yourself just being a dramatic kid or maybe chaotic sometimes just because of the influence of the drugs.
Yeah.
But it was just too hard for me, hard for me. And sometimes I look back and ask myself, how did I endure all those hardships, all those difficult situations that I was in? It was really difficult.
Tell me about the first day. Ilanga lakho lokuqala
Yeah.
lapho khona waqala experimenta ngema drugs. Njengoba nje you shared uthi your drug of choice bekubhema insangu.
Yes.
Nekubhema iglue.
Yes.
Asongithathe nje ongifake kulesikhathi leso the first time. Utawubhema kumbe ke leyo nsango. How was it? Do share. How did that happen? Uyithola njani kuphi?
Yeah, okay. I started smoking like light cigarettes, like David said, like the other light one who are just legal. And one day, one of my friends gave me marijuana in just a whole package. Then he was just giving me so that I can sell it, so that I can make pocket money, because I wasn't affording to have pocket money at that time. So just because I had it, I thought, let me just try it. Why not? Just because I have it, let me just see if I can experience it and feel the vibe, if there is any vibe. So that's why that's how I came up with the idea. It was, I got drunk. I remember very well. It was on a Friday. I was going to school. So I thought, let me just try it. And in the morning, actually. So I went to school very drunk. Like, I was very drunk.
You were high from
and halfway, while I was walking to school, I thought of going back because I was really drunk. But I tried and continued to school, and I didn't hear a thing. I was just sleeping almost the whole day.
Right.
Yeah.
And lapho utikhansa uqala lokubhema leyo nsango uqala you're in primary school or high school?
It was in high school.
It was in high school.
Yeah, it was in high school, like in Form 4. Yeah, in Form 4, yes.
Okay. Clement, we are going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to learn more about his transformation that took place in his life. From growing up nagogo, ukhule ube exposed kuma drugs, ukhule bonke batali bakho abekho ubashonile. Clement and I will be back after this short commercial break. Thank you for joining us, for watching Eswatini TV. You're sitting with Nomcebo and Clement Dlamini in another thrilling episode of A Cuppa with Nomcebo. Clement, you had quite a rough childhood, I must say.
Yeah.
But ukhonile ku survivor. Kuloko survivor kwakho ube exposed to drugs and smoking, taking those drugs. And now sangogcina lapho. Wafika sobona ukuthi ngoba naku awukhona ukukhera ube nale mali ukuthi uma esikoleni ukuthi ukhona ukuthenga njengalabanye abantwana. So utikhanza uthengisa insango, when you're afraid ukuthi yathi bangakuthola nje nyale maphoyisa kude kwakho vele naku uyaboshwa.
I was afraid, actually. I was really afraid, but just because I was selling it among my schoolmates and peers, you know that maybe that social circle can protect you in a way, because once you destroy the source, where are you going to find the product?
Right.
So I think it was just all about that, the trust between me and my clients. But it was a scary thing to do.
How did you feel though? Those kind of uyathengisa na imali yangena, uyayithengisa na imali yangena. So ayibona na impilo yakho seyenekushintsha. So yakhona ukuthi ithengala lokho lokuncane. How was that?
I was quite excited about the benefits, but you know, every person got the conscience to think of the right and the wrong thing. So I was guilty sometimes of doing this thing, and at one point in time, I decided to quit because I wasn't happy. You see, just living in the shadows, doing all those things. It wasn't just a life that I can recommend to anyone.
And at the time, bohlala nagogo. uthengisa insanga yakho uyifihla khona la ekhaya. Kukhona yini kumbe an instance lapho khona khansi sigogo wayithola leyo nsango yakho?
I can say letting children to grow with grannies is just a bad decision you can make as a parent, because grannies are just all about putting food on the table. Then when it comes to the parenting 101, just doing all those things you are supposed to do just to be responsible for a kid, that you can produce a kid that is just of quality, that can contribute to society. It's just a bad decision that you can make as a parent. So for me, my granny didn't have any initiative to tell me that I was doing the right thing. She was just concerned about my life, going to school and doing everything. But at one point in time, I remember this one day, I was coming home, like smelling these drugs I had smoked. But she just told me that I'm going to say for myself that whatever I'm doing, I'm going to say for myself. Yeah, so I did. Yeah.
So you did survive that particular era, Clement. So there you are, we are uyakula, uyaqeda a high school. So you're chasing your dream, and at some point udikhaza ukuthi ngoba le mali nayo so uyayifuna uthola umsebenzi as a security guard. Am I correct?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Oh, actually, my last parent died let me just start there. My parents died while I was in Form 2, 2010. Then from there, I got another, I should say, an angel teacher who decided to pay for my school fees. I didn't even know that he was paying for me.
That's
I discovered in Form 3, I went to the class teacher, I was like, no one is chasing me out of school that I didn't pay any school fees, whereas I'm not paying anything, I don't have any parents. And the class teacher told me that Mr. Mamba is paying for your school fees. And I was really surprised, because this teacher, you find that he was teaching me in class, and sometimes I was chaotic, sometimes just misbehaving. I didn't know even that he was paying for my school fees.
Okay.
You can see that it was just a situation that was unbearable. But from there, he discovered that I was smoking drugs, and he decided to just remove himself from the situation.
How did that make you feel? Ukuthi naku bewunomuntu ulokuthembako wakubhadela school fees sakho. So yakubona ukuthi ke so yakubamba ukuthi nyolo songenelele kunye kuganga. Now you're into drugs, uyakuyekela. How was that like?
Okay, it was painful. It was painful because I had someone I look up to, that maybe I can ask anything. I can tell me everything that I'm just going through, and he understand whatever I was going through. It was just very hard. But I was only smoking only light drugs like cigarettes. Then after that, that's where I started marijuana actually. Yeah.
All right. So asingene kunayi ke ukuthi ke so tikhanza security guard. I know ukuthi for you njengoba ushito, it was not really your dream. But ngoba kufanele ukuthi khona kufanele uqale khona uqala ukuba security guard. Sicocele ngaleyo ndzaba baba.
Parents were dead, so there was no one who was going to help me through the process. Right now, I had to stand for myself, just to put food on the table, just to do anything to survive as a young adult at that time. So there was no way, and I decided that you know what, right now I'm going to take any job, any available job opportunity that comes and present itself. So that's what I did. I went to work as a security guard, even though and while I was working there, I wasn't happy about the salary. So that's why I decided one day that I'm going to have an epiphany to say I'm going to decide whether I'm staying in this situation or maybe for moving forward. So that's what I did. I decided to use the money I was earning as a security guard just to pay for my tuition fees while I was upgrading. I was attending evening classes and also working at the same time. I had a very understanding supervisors who gave me the opportunity to, when you are working as a security guard, you are supposed to knock off at 6 a.m. But they will allow me to knock off at 4 a.m. Then I'll attend classes from 5 to 6,
Wow.
6 p.m. actually. So I think I'm even grateful right now that they gave me the opportunity at least to change my life. Right now I'm here. I'm still going to go back to them to say thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for helping me throughout this process.
Yeah. I think you were quite lucky ukuthi empilweni yakho you were able to find people to mentor you. Njengoba nje usho ukuthi nje batala bekho nagogo can only do so much. Ngoba vele sebakhulile bamfila abadala.
Yeah.
Is there something special maybe you'd like to say to Mr. Mamba if he's watching the show? Just a thank you. What would you say? Mongahlangana nje naye nje kutibongela.
We stay within the same Inkundla. I've seen him a couple times,
Yeah.
and I'm still lacking the courage to go to him to say thank you. But
Do it now.
I think
Let's do it here on a Cuppa. I'm giving you that
think,
opportunity. I want you to say it. Baba Mamba, say, let's do it now. Let's say thank you to him.
Mr. Mamba, thank you so much for pushing me. Thank you so much for paying for my school fees while I was in great need of financial situation I was in. So I would like to thank you. Thank you so much. Like, really thank you. But I'm still going to go to him, like,
Yes, in
physically to
person.
thank you, like maybe carrying that parcel or
Yeah.
any present that maybe can be of special, maybe or unique to him.
Kwendiwa njalo vele phinze uxolisa ukuthi ngabe disappoint Mr. Mamba. So ngikhanze sengomfana angisacabangi. I'm putting my you defake situation lapho khona so loser umuflo kubhatalela ngoba songena nama drugs.
Yeah, I understood because even my parents, my mother's family decided to chase me out. I was once homeless for 2 years because they chased me out, and I wrote my Form 5 while I was already staying at some
Somewhere else.
neighbors' homesteads.
Okay.
So I was just.
We're going to end it here because we really need to make take a quick commercial break. Clement, your life is very interesting. We'll hear more after the break. Clement, you did mention ukuthi naku ekhaya sebayaqosha because of my habits that you had started practicing like bangahambilane nokukhuliswa kwakho uyaphuma ekhaya udikhanza uhleti kamakhelwane. How was that?
Beyond being painful, because you see, even with the community members, we are just a laughing stock, and it was really unbearable, like really a difficult situation. Yeah.
Tell us about your breaking point, because here you are, ukhula kabuhlungu, by exposed to drugs, and there you are, you make that decision because you unale motivation, you've got that dream that you want to pursue. Uyangena obang security guard today. You know, at some point, Nyalo, you were in university. You're still studying in university.
I graduated last year, actually. I
Ungena
graduated
njani
last
at
year.
university. Tell us about that leap, you know, that wonderful change in your life. Because one security guard, Nyalo, bese sithola leyo opportunity ukuthi Nyalo salongena university uhambe uyofunda.
I wasn't happy about the life I was living. Like, sometimes you'll find that as a security guard, you'll find me waiting or maybe standing at the gate, just closing and just doing everything, providing security at that campus or maybe compound. But one day while I was on duty, I decided to have to take a decision to say I'm going to change my life.
Right.
Sometimes when my cousins used to just pass around where I was working, just standing at the gate as a security guard, I would just hide. You can see that, you can understand that I wasn't happy. I was ashamed of the life I was living. So I decided to take an initiative to say I'm going to change my life. I'm going to become the first person in my family to be a graduate. In all the generations we have passed, but I'm going to be the first. Without any help from relatives, without any help from anyone, I'm going to push for myself just to make it.
So wakhona ukuthi pusha.
Yeah.
And you were able to even motivate yourself because there has to be some form of motivation, you know, that you had in the background. Because that dream, you know, that you had. Because you know what, I want to be a university graduate.
Yeah, okay. While I was working as a security guard, at one point in time, they decided to maybe station me at a location whereby there was a free Wi-Fi. So I'll find myself just surfing the internet, just going there through and through. So at one point in time, I have heard of a word like there's something called motivational speaker. So I then went on YouTube and I said motivational speaker. A whole lot of speeches, motivations that came through the searches there and there. So I decided to download all those videos while I was working as a security, and that was a year before I went for upgrading. Then I started to listen, just to watch all those movies, just to hear all those inspirational stories.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided to say, you know what, I'm going to use my story also to talk to other people and audiences, and that's what I'm doing right now. I sometimes get invitations. Just this past week, I was speaking at the Form 5 foil seminar or Form 5 foil function at Nzingeni. Nazarene. So I sometimes get those bookings. People just pay me just to hear my story.
Your wonderful, wonderful, life-changing story. I salute you as well, Clement. You know, you are doing something that many people find to be difficult. Njengoba nesihleli now on this show, I know ukuthi there is someone watching us right now who feels trapped. Ukuthi mina akatiboni. Ukuthi ungaphuma kule situation le uva ngathi ikufonsela emuva, you don't have any sense of accomplishment. What would you say to encourage that person right now ekhaya lo ake lelo ndlula noma lokule stage leso lo ake waba kuso before ube ngile motivational speaker along you today?
What I can say is just two statements. Like, you are your own rescue, and success is your own responsibility, and no one is going to come for your own rescue. You do have your own goals, so you need to go and execute them, have that blueprint, have all those strategies, just execute them with legal approaches, because you know very well, you need to do something that is legal. Just do everything that you imagine that you can achieve, because whatever you think you can achieve, you can really achieve it. It's just only in the mind that you can find yourself imposing those limitations to say, just because I'm thinking of introducing the Writers Awards and so on, maybe I'm not worthy of doing that. But just because I think of doing it, it's because it's possible. God gave me the idea just because He entrusted me with the idea. So if I'm not going to execute it, God is going to be disappointed in me. So I need to execute it.
Okay. And now you're a columnist. I know that you work with the Times Eswatini. Tell us about that.
I started writing for the Times of Swaziland 2018, August 2018, and even today, I think it's been 6 years writing for the Times of Swaziland. I'm always grateful, and each and every Friday that I can see myself just in the newspaper. And I think 3 years ago, I got a very inspirational testimony from another ex-juvenile who had just recently been released, telling me about that he was reading my articles at the correctional facilities, and he confessed that I changed his life. I was like, really?
What are the columns? What do you talk about in your columns?
I talk about different topics. I cover spirituality, inspiration, motivation. So I cover those three basic topics actually.
So Clement, we are coming towards the end of the show. Any last words that you'd like to share, with the viewers who wants to get in touch with you?
I'm on social media. I'm Clement Dlamini. You can also check on my page. I'm also Clement Dlamini on my page, but my personal account, if you can send a friend request, Clement Dlamini. Yes. Yeah, I do have numbers. I think they can get it on the timeline. Yes,
okay,
yes.
Go social media.
Yes.
Okay, Clement Dlamini, thank you so much for taking the time to sit with me and have a cuppa and sharing your wonderful story, because this is what the show is about. We talk about the hardship that people go through, and having a success story right at the end of it. And that is Clement's story that we are sharing today. And you are a wonderful human being, and siyajabula makunemaswati lafana nawe Clement lakhona kubhutsa akukhona ukukhokha kuma situations khanza ukuthi awuboni likusasa awuboni ku bright embili, but when you're able to do that, I want to gift you this candle from our friends from Swazi Candles. You shine that candle and be the light that you are, and use that candle to always remember that you are a hero in Eswatini. We have come towards the end of tonight's show. I enjoy sitting where I'm sitting, talking to these wonderful human beings who are doing great work at Eswatini. Do not lose hope. Wherever you are, do not lose hope. Dream, and your dreams will come through. Good night, Swaziland.